Guys, so this week we're going to be taking this wireframe that we created and actually coding it. So we're going to be using some different tools here. One is Bootstrap, and I'm very clumsy with Bootstrap, so you might see me pausing while I cuss a little bit and try to figure out what I'm doing wrong. So anyways, and I didn't really, last week was so crazy trying to figure things out, and I think I kind of over planned and overthought things, which I do tend to do. But one thing I probably did not really, tell you as a specific step is I want you to create a folder just for organizational purposes. That's HTML, CSS2 for this class, and then do a week one folder. Everything that we did last week, put in week one. Everything we're going to do in week two, put in week two, and you get the idea. So I'm in week two, and I got a week two folder, and I'm already in VS Code. And I'm going to be in week two, and I'm going to create a new file called, just going to name it index. Make sure I'm in week two. I'm not. I need to go into week two. And just going to name it index.html. I'm going to go ahead and create a CSS file, style, put an S on it. Sometimes I forget to put the S, and sometimes I don't put the S on it. But I am today. And as soon as my computer decides it wants to save it. Okay, so I got an index.html and a styles.css. So let's go ahead and go on the first line. And if you remember, the shortcut to do all the prefab stuff for HTML is the shift. If you're on a Mac, if you're on a PC, if you're on a Mac, I don't know what it is. I'm assuming you do. But if you're on a PC, you hit shift and then the exclamation point, which is the one key, and it does all of that, Emmet abbreviation, and you just hit tab, and voila, it does it all for you. So we're just going to change the title of this to, we're just going to name it HC Bookstore. No, that's not what it is it? It's Hawking College Hawk Store? Spirit Store? Let's do it Spirit Store. Yeah, it's probably too long for in the title, but that's okay. Anyways, but that's not the focus of it right now. Let's go ahead and look at the creation in Figma. So this is what we did as a wireframe. That's not going to work. This is what we did for a wireframe. We have, okay, we got this nav, and if you were like me, you just kind of did a copy of the image and pasted it in there because you were tired and it was just easier to do. And then we got this little, this is probably the heading and the nav. They got two navs. And, we kind of did the same thing here. And we definitely did, copy and paste the image. Everything else was text. Everything else was actually typewritten and coding. So these first few things here, we need to figure out how to actually create it without just doing the picture like we did. So the Bootstrap thing I mentioned earlier is what we're going to use to create this heading. So let's go to, I'm in bootstrap.com. And the way I got here and the way I would recommend getting here is Bootstrap for Nav. Because W3 Schools looks like it only has Bootstrap 3, and Bootstrap 4 is the current one, so we're going to try to do this. So Bootstrap is like another template. We played with templates in the last HTML class. It's a way to make our lives easier. Um, and Bootstrap is another version of templates. It was either created by Twitter or there is a relationship between Bootstrap and Twitter. I don't remember exactly. I think Twitter was created with the Bootstrap design. And okay, so my son kept coming in here. Um, anyway, so we are going to use Bootstrap to help build our nav. And there are several options here. And this is something you'll just come with practice and building little projects. So what's nice about this, it's got all our CSS. You see it's got a bunch of classes and it's already got the list and it's already got the things that kind of make our life a little bit easier. And it's even got a copy button. So you click on that copy button, you go into your text editor, your IDE, and which is VS Code if you're like me, and you hit paste. Okay. So let's go see what's going on with it now. So if you click on index.html, and actually I think you need to download I think you need to install an extension for that if I'm getting ready to show you. So I'm going to show you something else instead because we haven't talked about that. So let's just go ahead and go to HTML, the folder that we're in. Okay, index, right click, open with, and go ahead and choose Google Chrome. Or you can just double click if Google Chrome's already the default. Okay, so we got a nav, but it's not what we want it to look like now, is it? Okay, we got the content. Let's bring this over so you can see. Okay, so it's got content, right? It's got home on line 19 for mine. It's got line home, we got links, and we got all that stuff. But it's not a nav, and it's not the kind of format that we're wanting. And the reason for that is because remember how I mentioned there's classes, and classes is related to styling. That gives you kind of the styling of what you're wanting to do. Remember how there was like external style sheets that we can use, such as if we, put the styling in our styles.css. But the way it works with Bootstrap and a lot of other third-party template places like this is you have to link their style sheet into your website. So, usually there's, whatever you're using, there's an introduction getting started, which is what I went to here at Bootstrap. And I'm going to copy and paste this link, the style sheet link, into that. So it's already there. It's already got the links, relationship style sheet. It's got the href, and it's got cross origin, whatever that means. I'm going to copy, and I am going to go back into my index.html, and I am going to go back to the head, and I'm just going to paste that in there. I'm going to turn on my word wrap because I want it to word wrap. There we go. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to hit refresh. Okay, and now it looks more like the nav bar. It looks more like the nav bar. Well, it does look like the nav bar that we copied the code from originally. Now we want it to be styled for our own purposes, but we got the basic format there without us having to do too much of the heavy work, heavy lifting. Okay, so let's take a second to review what it was that we copied and pasted in here. So this was what we just copied and pasted the CSS from Bootstrap. Okay. So this is giving it where usually we would have done it like an href styles.css. This is giving us href URL of a Max CDN Bootstrap CDN. CDN is an abbreviation for Content Delivery Network. Okay. And all content delivery network is basically servers that are at various places around the world that are closer to your geographical region, which means the lag of the updates or the resources, or in this case, the styling, the lag is going to be less and hopefully not noticeable whenever for it to reach you. So the styling that is actually coming in to your website is from another website. And so there's a potential of a lag, there's a potential of not loading. You've probably seen websites where it looks like the content loaded, like the structure of the HTML loaded, but the CSS and the styling didn't load. And that may have been because it's relying upon a CDN, which is an internet-based styling sheet. And if there's any kind of lag, or if there's a server down somewhere and that it's not going to get to you, then you might, your website that you're pulling up may look a little funky. So that's pretty much what a CDN is. It's just a way to kind of reduce the lag, for anybody who's trying to, acquire content, or in this case, a styling sheet. Okay, so let's go back into here. Okay, so we got our nav, but it's not quite what we want. What we want is more, looks like this. We got the about, directory, bookstore, college credit plus, athletics, email, self-service, Blackboard, Moodle, Blue Quill. We're going to take out of those. I thought they took out those. Anyways, web advisor and register. We're going to take this out because it's now no longer an issue. So let's start with about. Okay. So let's do a line by line to some degree in regards to what we are doing. So we got a nav. It's our nav element, HTML element. This is a class which gives our styling. And there are, looks like 1, 2, 3, and 4 different kind of styles being applied to this. And this is where Bootstrap can be a little overwhelming, is because there are so many styles and so many dependencies on the styling that it's kind of difficult to start customizing based off what you want. For example, we want the background to be green, right? So I'm going to go back in here to figure out what color green this was because I don't remember. I want to use my color picker and I want to get on that green, and that's my green. So I'm going to copy that. That's not what I want. Okay. So let's see what I can do. Let's just kind of do this and see what happens. I'm going to do a div style equals background color, and I'm going to copy that. Oh, shoot. Control Z. My hex code didn't copy. Copy that. And why is it not copying? You can see it's not copying what I wanted to copy. I'm just going to do it from memory. Control Z will undo what you've done. 009E49. 009E. Oops. Now I'm in the wrong spot. Okay. Try this again. 009E49. Okay, green. Now I got my opening div. Now I need to make sure I apply my closing div. I'm gonna go ahead and do it all on the bottom. Let's see what happens. Nothing happened. That's what I thought was going to happen. Okay, so what's going on here is I have, see, remember a website, a web page a browser will read your web page in sequential order from top to bottom. So I'm telling it I want it to be a green background. But what this is telling it is it's telling it I want it to be a different color background. So the question becomes of what do you take out? So I selected this entire line and I just commented it out and see what happens. Okay, it's green, but now I did some other funky stuff to it. So I want to hit Alt Z to undo that. So somewhere in here is what's causing it to not be green, and I just need to kind of do a deeper dive on it. So what I found to be helpful, sometimes, not always, is to go ahead and look at this CDN. Because I want to see the styling that's in there. So I click on that by control and clicking on it. Yes, I want to open it. Okay, and that's all the CSS stuff. Excuse me. Okay. I'm going to select all of that by hitting Control A, copy it by hitting Control C, and I'm going to go ahead and open up a new file and Control V to paste it, Alt Z to word wrap it, and save as to, I'm going to name it Bootstrap style .css. Just something to signify where I got it from. Okay. Now you'll notice that this CSS does not look like what we typically use as our CSS. It's a little difficult to read, which is one of the pain points in regards to Bootstrap. Because whenever you're wanting to customize it, like what we are right now, to change that background from that light color to green, it can be difficult to find it. So this does require a little bit of detective work. So we go back to index.html. So some of the classes that we kind of, through troubleshooting and trial and error, that, are causing the background or the nav to not look like what we want is in this particular area. But it's got some components that we do want because that's what we want for our nav. So BG is the Bootstrap version for background light. Go ahead, you can do a control find kind of thing. Let's copy that. Let's see if copy works on here now. I want to go into Bootstrap and Control F for find, maybe. Okay, there we go. And Control V. Pasting actually worked this time. So I see there's 5 instances of BG Lite. Okay, so let's see what BG Lite is telling me. And you see all these little important things. Now, you remember from last week, important was to bypass any of the other styling. It's like, this is super important. Ignore everything else. But there's already several important things in here, and that can be overwhelming as well. So let's see what we got here. We got this first BG Lite, and it's a class. And it looks like, because that's a period, and then again, this is a little bit of detective work. This is a closing curly bracket, and this is a period right before BG. And I am going to say that that's probably a new kind of, it's a new styling line. So I can hit enter and kind of move it a little bit so I can differentiate it. And in the end of this closing curly bracket, to me, that indicates that's the end of that kind of styling for the class of BG Lite. And I'm going to hit enter again, just again to differentiate it. And it looks like, it's telling it to be this particular color, which I'm assuming is this. And it seems very important, so forget anything else that's anybody else tells you to do. But I don't want it to be that color. I want it to be the green that we've been talking about, which is, I forgot, 009E49. So let's see if I can change it here. 009E49. Hit save. And let's see. Make sure that exclamation point went right on it. Hit save. Let's see what happens now. Okay, that didn't work. So that was not the culprit. Okay, so we got an A. So if it's anything that's got an A, indicating it's an anchor or it's got like a link, is I hate the thing coming up. Okay, BG Lite, it wants a focus, and also if it was an anchor, BG Lite hover, it was a button, BG Lite focus. Okay, so all of this looks like all of these stylings. So one of them was like, if it was an anchor tag, meaning it's probably going to be a link, has a background color light focus. So that kind of class. Then one that says it's going to hover, like whenever you're hovering over it. A button to be the focus is going to have it. All four of these classes are going to have the same type of styling that looks like right here. Okay, so don't think that's necessarily causing the problem, but let's just try it and see what happens. That's like kind of how my whole model, try and see what happens. 0, 0, 0, 9, what was it again? Make sure I don't have a typo in here. E49. I don't know if it's case sensitive. It might be. So let's try that. Oh, E94. No, what was it again? Default copy. No. 09E49. Okay. I want to make this uppercase E because it may be sensitive. I don't know. Now try to refresh it. Oh, it's not working still. You know why it's not going to work? Because I have a different kind of CSS I'm wanting to refer to, and I did not include that in here. It's still only looking at this, and it's like, I'm not doing anything because You haven't connected it. So my bad. Link rel equals style sheet href equals and then bootstrap.css, and then we just leave it like that. So now let's see what happens. Okay, it's green, but now I'm curious of what fixed it. Okay, so let's find, oh, play detective again. Okay, and where was it? I'm going to hit Control Z, 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 Control Z. That's not what I want. Control Y. So what I was doing was hitting Control Z as in zebra to undo everything that I've been doing because I made some corrections on here. I changed the color here to green. I don't know if that's what fixed the problem or if this fixed the problem. And so partly out of curiosity and partly to not mess myself up anymore, I only want to fix this and then do a trial run after I actually remember to link the sheets. I'm going to go ahead and make this a capital E because, like I said earlier, I forgot to link this sheet over to index.html, so I didn't even know to look. So I got it saved. Now let's hit refresh. Okay, it's still green, and that's good. Let's see. I don't know if the drop down ever worked. I didn't really try it, but that's okay. We got it green. So let's go ahead and start playing with this, the content of it. So we already said it was about, and the styling's not right. We'll fix the styling soon. About, what else do we have on there? Directory. So replacing all these little lines here with what I need. Bookstore. Yeah. And what's next? College Credit Plus. And athletics. That's the drop down. I don't want the drop down. Okay. Let's kind of stick where it's at right now and see what we need to do. Okay. So we have an about, directory, bookstore, college credit plus. Again, I don't know if that ever worked. Didn't try it, but that's neither here nor there right now. But you can see there's different kind of stylings, and we want it to all be the same styling. I'm going to plug my computer in. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm plugged in. Okay, stylings. So all our stylings a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and fix our stylings. So what's giving us our styling here is navbar brand. Okay, so the brand, you'll notice like about on the about, like where we borrowed it from, it was bigger, so it's more like a brand name. Usually whenever it has like a brand name on the left hand side or something like that, to be bigger or more prominent. So I'd say that's what that was intended to be, but that's not what we want. That's not what we needed for our purposes. So if we look at directory, looks like a class is a link. So what I want to do is change from the brand and to link to be the same as everything else. Let's see what that does now. Okay, well, it kind of sort of did something. Okay, why did it do that? Now bar link, href. Okay, looks like there is another thing here that might be causing, there's some other classes that could be causing it. So, I want to go ahead and leave this link. And it can be overwhelming trying to figure out what you want to put in here when all of this information is here. Like, like I mentioned before, we got our classes and they have various names that are based from Bootstrap. The href, it just use a little hashtag symbol as a placeholder until you figure out where you want the button and the link to actually go to. The button classes, this is more of the Bootstrap styling, saying it's a button and the toggle thing. And then it's just like all kinds of content in here. Area is related to accessibility, if I remember correctly. So there's all kinds of information there. I mean, a lot of it, most of it, especially if this is for accessibility reasons, is best practices, but it is overwhelming and you're trying to decipher what you want it is that you want to change. So what we're going to do is I want all these buttons, I want them to be buttons, but I want them all to have the same styling and not necessarily this. So what I'm going to do is go up into my head and want to put some custom styling just on this particular sheet. Make it internal styling, and if I like it, I'll put it on the communal styles.css page. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on what I want it to look like. So style, let's see. I'm going to give it a unique name that's not already been taken. I'm going to say Nav Button Custom. And do the open curly bracket. I want to say color is going to be white. This is going to indicate that it's going to be a font color of white. Text, size, let's see, that's what I want. Text, weight. Oh, what do I call it? Can't think of what I'm trying to look. Text weight, text something. Okay. Font weight, that's what I was wanting. Okay. Actually it's font size is what I was wanting. And I was wanting to be, was that what I was wanting? Goodness gracious. Why is it not coming up? It's like when it doesn't come up, it's like, oh, you're losing me. I have no idea what. Help me, people. Okay. Font. I need my little helper thing to tell me what I want. There we go. Okay, I don't want that. I think I wanted the weight. Let's just go ahead and do the weight. I'm not sure. Still, I'm not sure if that's what I wanted. Text size. No, it's font size. Okay, that is what I was looking for earlier. I want to say medium. I just want to leave it like that. So Nav Button Custom is what we're naming this. So a quick and dirty way of doing to see if this works is like right before the word about, do a span style equals, no, I did that wrong. Span class equals nav button custom, which was what we named it up here. And close that span on the other side of the word about. Hit save and let's see what happens. Okay, that worked. It has to be like right next to the word about because again, it reads it from top to bottom. So it reads, this is what we're going to apply. Then it reads, this is what we're going to apply. Then it's going to read what this is what we're going to apply. And if we did not apply this span class right before the word about, and we did it like before that link. say we did span class, and then there was this anchor tag, and there's class, and then this class right here. It's going to make a liar out of me. Okay, evidently it didn't matter. So it looks like sometimes it does matter. Sometimes you need it to be right as close as possible to what you're trying to design, style, and sometimes I'm wrong. It doesn't need to be right on top of it. But now knowing that this works, let's go ahead and get rid of the span altogether. Okay. Because that's just extra code and more stuff to read. And as you can tell, there's already plenty of stuff to read in there. Oh, shoot. What am I hitting? Control Z, have no idea what I erased. Control Z. Okay. I'm back to where I want to erase stuff again. Want to get rid of this span, closing span. The reason this is highlighted, if you're curious, is because I still have that on. But okay, we figured out doing a nav button custom. It works. Let's go ahead and save it. Now that I took this span out, got an extra span, it looks like. Okay. I go back here. It should go back to what it was before, which it is. Okay, good. And now we know this works. So we can, instead of having the span, we can actually just add that class in here with the A, because as long as we can keep adding classes, just like the nav class, so it has looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 different classes of navbar, navbar expand large, navbar light, and BG light. And actually, because we changed this to green, what I should do is comment at, oh, that's not what I want, is to comment about the fact that I changed BG light to background of green. Okay. Just so that I'm wondering why BG light isn't BG light is because I changed it. So back to here. So we got a class of, this nav button custom, which is up, this is the name thing up here. Can save it and hit refresh, and it's white. So I was able to reduce some of the code by leaving out that span, and it's still white. Okay. So now let's go ahead and finish applying this to all of the ones that we already got here. So we can just paste it, copy and paste it onto the class that's right before the navigating words. So it usually looks like they're with the A class. Right after nav link, you'll do nav button custom. Same thing here. Oops. Make sure you do it in between the quotes. Let's see. Looks like this is the last one we did, and before we start and come to make some other changes. So credit card. This one looks a little bit different, but I'm going to go ahead and just put it right there and see what happens. Hit refresh. Not quite. It's changing some, but the color's not this. Let's see. So there's some other factors in there. It's preventing it from being white. So this is what we can do, because I don't know what those other factors are. So let's see if this works. What if we make white very important? Okay, and that overrides whatever it is that's telling it not to be white. Now it's all white. But let's look back at Figma. There's more headings that we needed to put in there. but the types of headings were starting to change, and this arrows and stuff like that. I didn't really want that. So let's make some customizations before we start putting the rest of the content in there. So let's go back to here. So the last thing that we had in here was College Credit Plus before it started looking different. So let's see. I think and College Credit Plus has the drop down. I don't want the drop down. So let's get rid of that drop down. Okay. So it starts with one div. And you can see it says drop down menu, which is again just a Bootstrap thing. And every opening div requires a closing div. And usually VS Code is good about telling you where the closing div is. So if I click on that, it tells me where the closing div is, the matching closing div. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just get rid of this. I'm going to click on that, or select all of that and hit delete. Let's see, and save it. Refresh this. There's still something there. I'm not sure what that is. So let's do a little bit. Delete the rest of the stuff, and then we'll start looking at that little arrow. So disabled was the last thing that we wanted to get rid of. So begin, you can see it has the nav item and disabled here. So here's the beginning of my list, and it tells me where the end of my list is. And I just want to get rid of that. Okay, got rid of that. So now I need to figure out where this little sucker is. So I'm going to, click on it and right click on it and hit inspect. And it's going to open up my dev tools. Well, because it's switched sizes, it's going to be, I have to change the size of it. So I'm going to change response to responsive so I can make this bigger to see where that little arrow is. So I click on that. All my dev tools are on the bottom. I changed them earlier. They're usually on the right side. I don't know if I like this better or not, but this is what I'm doing right now. So want to right click on that and hit inspect. So this is where that little sucker is. I'm wanting to look for an icon, but I'm not seeing an icon. So let's see. Let's start taking some stuff away. Let's try to take away this drop down toggle. Okay, that looks like it took care of it. And this is not going to save the code. This just helps me figure out process of elimination on one screen of what I need to take out. Because if I refresh this, it's back. So this is just as a tool to help me figure out what I want to get rid of. So if I do the drop down toggle and get rid of that, save it, and now refresh it again, and it is truly gone. Okay. And by the way, to change, oh shoot, Control-Shift-I, to change the location of your console, if you like yours on the bottom or somewhere else, it's somewhere. Forget how I did this. Is it here? It's one of those things that you do and then you don't do and you don't remember how to do it. Let me pause this while I remember how to do it. I was right the first time, I just didn't hit it on it right. It is on these three little arrows, three little dots. So you can put it on the bottom, you can put it to the right, which is the default. You can do whatever you want. We'll just leave it on right. Okay. So anyways, so I got rid of the little, Go ahead, close this. The little arrow that I wanted to get rid of. So now let's go ahead and put all the rest of the headings on there. So we got to College Credit Plus. Now we need athletics. I'll get rid of this color picker because it's in my way. Okay. Athletics, email, self-service. Okay. So there's still some differences between these different heading titles, but that's not going to be our biggest concern right now. But let's go ahead and just copy like the last one for the College Credit Plus. Nope. So it's a list item. Let's take care of this. Get rid of this drop down because it's no longer a drop down. Let's get rid of this drop down stuff. And this may have no huge consequences on our code, when it comes to it working. It's just more cleaning it up, and it still works. Okay. Area, like I said, I believe it has something to do with accessibility, so we're going to leave that in there. So your nav items are list items. And so it has a beginning list element tag and an ending one. Let's go ahead and select those. Copy. Paste it. And what was it again that we were doing? It was going to be athletics. So let's change College Credit Plus to athletics. And see how it looks. Okay, it's looking good. And let's do the rest of them. Email and self-service are next. So let's see if I can remember two things at once. Copy. Paste. Email. Paste. Self-service. Okay. Okay, and it's deciding to freeze on me. Okay. We'll do Blackboard. We're not doing Moodle or Blue Quill on Web Advisor and Register. Blackboard, Web Advisor, Register. I'm going to paste this a couple more times. Okay. So let's see what this looks like now. Okay, so they're all white. They're all coupled across. It's not quite the same format as this one. One is because we're missing two, then it's not quite as spread out. But that's going to be something we'll work on later. We may decide we like ours better. I don't know. I kind of like this, but that's something that we can work on later. So next is this. So similar concept. So what I'm going to do, since aside from it being green and white, I'm just going to kind of copy and paste all of this minus this. This is a search. Remember it had did you see it had a search function up here? I'm going to leave that up here. But aside from that, I'm going to, first let's comment this. Okay, let's give this a comment of green nav heading bar. I'm not sure which is the correct terminology. I'm going to copy all of this all the way down to the end. to the enclosing list, copy it, and paste it. I want to see what happens. Okay. Well, boom, 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 boom. Oh, I know what it did. Okay. It's still doing it on the same line, and we don't want it on the same line. So let's add a break. First of all, let's go ahead and put a comment. The shortcut to do that comment of the less than symbol, exclamation point, so on and so forth, is Control /, which is the same key as the question mark, and it'll automatically do that for you. So this is the white nav heading area. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that break. Okay, well, the break didn't help it. So I'd say there's probably some Bootstrap stuff that's giving me issues now again. So it's not the color. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. What happens if we I can't come out the whole line without taking everything. Let's just kind of do one by one. Actually, let's do it here. Control-Shift-I. And I'm going to put this back down on the bottom because I need this to be wider width so I can see all of this stuff and figure out what I'm doing wrong here. So, boom, 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 boom. I forgot what I was going to do. Oh. So the thought is that there's something within the Bootstrap stuff that's not letting me break the line. So, or it's making it be right up on top. So that could be like a margin thing or what. So let's kind of one by one take out some of this Bootstrap stuff and see what happens. Okay, that didn't do anything. Go ahead, Control-Z to undo that. And actually, this is the one I want to change. So let's go to this one because this is the second group of the list. So and on the right hand side, you can see any kind of styling that may be creating this scenario. So this is at several different widths. It's not necessarily what I need. Let's see. Okay. Not seeing anything that's going to help me figure out where this is going wrong. Okay, so let's kind of get back into here. May not do what I had proposed. So let's go back and let's just get rid of this right now. sometimes you got to kind of figure out what pick your battles, which is worth fighting for and which is not. And this, I think there's other ways that we can do this, makes it not worth fighting for. So the search is down here. Did I mess up the search somewhere? One of that's causing part of my problem. Because the search was supposed to, ooh, I bet you that's it. Because, okay. Because somehow, whenever I pasted it in here, because the search was only supposed to be on that top one. And I noticed like the search was down here. And this content I pasted was above it, which will create the problem that I'm having right now. So I'm going to hit X, Control X to cut it. And I am going to go to the end of the search. So there's the end of the form. I'm going to go within, I want to go completely outside of the nav and outside of that div and paste and see what happens. Okay, it's on a different row, which is good. You know, first, it's a good step. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this console log thing. Okay, so different row, that's a good first step. So now I want the background color for this to be white. So I'm going to update this comment, background, the color to be white. Because this is, ooh, it's not going to be, look. Because remember, this reads in order. So I could have, you know, get rid of this code up here because it doesn't do me any good whatsoever. I'll go ahead and get rid of that. Because what it's doing is reading off BG light, which I had changed in here to be that green, and it said it was very important. Okay, so let's go back down into here. Okay, we got it white, but this is overriding what I'm saying. I'm just going to go ahead. I think that the only thing that this did was give it the color. So I'm just going to get ahead and get rid of it. Change color. Okay. Let's see what that does. Okay, it's white. My font is also white, which is why you cannot see it now. So now I'm in a situation where my font is white, my background is white, and I want my background to be white. I'm going to stick with that being white. So now I need to do something so my font is black. So I'm going to do nav button custom black. And I'm going to do similar up here. I'm going to go ahead and actually copy that, paste it, except this is going to be black, and it's also going to be very important. So I'm just going to add the word black to the end of those nav custom things that I made earlier when I copied and pasted it from the first one. Okay, so boom, 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 boom. There we go. So all I need to do, when nav button custom is fine, just put black on it. Okay. This just saves me some little bit of typing. From instead of having to do the whole thing all over again, just put like just extending out the name of it. Okay, so I'm going to save that and see what it looks like now. And good. So it's got my font, it's all in black. So let's change the content on it because it's not the exact same. So it's future students, current students. let's see, go up here where we're starting with the white. And it was future students, current students, military, what else was there? Majors, parents, alumni, community. There's faculty, staff, and resources. And that was it. So I'm going to get rid of these last couple of ones. Actually, this closing list goes with this one. So I'm going to get rid of that too. Okay, save. And let's look in here. Okay, let's change the content, which is good. And let's go ahead, and right now it's on the left-hand side, but I want it to be more on the right-hand side. So I'm trying to figure out what would be the easiest way to do that. Might have to look this one up. So let's do div style text align. Let's do right. Right now this is kind of a guessing. Let's see. I didn't do my close div. Needed another closing div, but it should be on the bottom anyways. Just the fact that it didn't automatically populate with a closing div makes me wonder if I messed up somewhere. Okay, that did not work. So let's look in W3 schools. How, well, I'm just going to Google it. Align text to right HTML. Should probably do CSS. Let's just do that one. CSS text align property. And tell me where I'm going wrong. So let's try this myself. Give it a minute or two. While I pause it. Okay, according to this, looks like I'm doing it right. The CSS is text align right, so that should be working. Should. It's not. So, because I want it to be more on the right-hand side. And maybe I don't. I mean, we're going to be, kind of putting our own styles of it. It doesn't have to be completely mimic it. I don't hate this. So I'm not going to dive any deeper to it. Once I start putting things together, if I still want it to be somewhere else, then I'll change it. You kind of have to pick and choose your battles on this. But let's go ahead and get back to our Figma thing. I don't hate this. This is good right now. Let's see how it looks in the end. Moving on. So now we got our logo, right? Well, maybe we might need it because of our logo. So let's go ahead and get our logo, and I'm going to actually save this. So if you've done this, I am going to right click on it. Oh, won't let me like download it, will it? Oh, shoot. Okay. Let's go to Hawking College. There. And let's go to the logo. Right click on the logo, save image as, And we want to go to the where we have all of the stuff in. There's the HTML, CSS2, week 2. We're going to click on that, and we're going to create a new folder called images, and we'll open that up, and we are going to put Hocking College logo .jpg. So we're going to rename it to a JPEG file, hopefully. Click save. And let's go back to our VS Code and open up on the left-hand side. And we see, the files of a folder called images. It looks like it did save it as a JPEG, so that's good. So let's go ahead and so we want the logo to be on the left side of this white nav heading, right? So let's go ahead and I'm gonna get rid of this because that didn't work. I'll make a comment. Adding logo to left hand side of the white nav area. I'm going to do image source equals. So we need to tell the folder that's going to be in. So we open up with the quotes, and you'll see that it'll indicate like one option that we want to choose is images. Someone select images. The only photo I have in there is the Hocking College logo. I'm going to close that and see what it looks like. Hit refresh. Okay, it's a little big. And so let's kind of resize it. So let's do the width of, I don't know, let's do 20% view width. Let's do the height equals 20% view height with VH and VW. So it's smaller. Okay, because what it should do when you say 20% of view height or view width, it should be like 20% of the width and the height of the area that it has. So it's still a little bigger than what I want. So let's do 10% each. And they don't have to be equal. If it doesn't look right them being equal, then make them different. Okay, that looks better. I do want a little bit of padding around it. So I want to do padding equals, I want to do, I don't know, 3%. I may not be doing this right. We'll find out. Doesn't look like I did it right. Oh, I know what I did. Okay. So this attribute, I think, has to go in after the word image and before the word source. So what we're doing here, we're given the width and the height of this image right here. But some other characteristics that I want has to go after the image if I'm right here, and we'll find out. So let's do style equals padding, and I'm just going to say all around. If you want all around padding the same dimensions, you can do like the one number. You can only give one unit of measure. So I'm going to do something that will be a little bit more easier to see. So I want to do something like 50 pixels. This will make sure that this works. And let me put my source back in there. If it works, and then I can adjust it to what I really want. Okay, it worked. Now to what I really want. I just want a little bit, and I like to use percentages whenever I can, because then it changes in response to the size of the screen. Okay, I did something wrong. Maybe that one should not be percentage at all. It's taking a while to refresh. It's not wanting to refresh. Okay. So it's got more padding. So let me go ahead and show you what I did. So before I did this, it was like really close to it, and I didn't want it so close to the green board, to the green nav. So I'm going to hit Control Z to undo me deleting that, Control S to save it, and then it's got some more padding around it. So that's what I was wanting. Now I still want this on the right hand side of that. So I might still need to do that text align right. So this is the area that I'm wanting. Let's see, what if I do it right in here? Text align right. Nope, still not working. Okay, I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong here. Let's see. I'm gonna pause this while I try to figure what I'm doing wrong. Hello, so I did a little bit of looking around, just Googled some stuff, and float. Float, it looks like is what I need it to have it float to the right instead of align to the right. So if I go in here and if I change from text align and make that float instead, and I hit refresh, yeah, well, okay. I did it earlier before I hit play again. So let me show you what it was before. It was that before. And now I want to change that to float. Save it. And then there you go. Okay. But I don't want it so close to the right hand side. So I'm going to add some margin to the right hand side. So I'm going to do margin right, and I don't know, maybe something like 10%. Okay, and it brought it out a little bit. We'll leave it at that. I want to change. This is when you get down the rabbit holes, when you start nitpicking at stuff. I'm going to change this. I don't want it so close to the left-hand side. Yeah. So I'm going to change under nav, this very first nav, because it's like the parent of it all. Style equals margin left equals, let's say, I want to say like 5%. Say that. Oops, I didn't want to do all that. My bad. So Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, back to that. So where did I want? Let's go ahead and change this one here, the right before the first about, or the about. Style equals margin left 5%. Okay, that's better. So I still have green, but the content's a little bit, closer out, a little further out. I don't know if I'm going to like this and this is going to stick with it. I already don't really like the fact, but again, I don't want to take too deep a dive on that. That's kind of the things that we'll kind of tweak after we get all the content on there. How long has this video been recording so far? Already over an hour for just this. So I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to stop this video. This is going to be all for this one, and then we'll finish the rest of it. I think the rest of it will be easier. So, or quicker anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this.